So, just for context for everybody else, Maria's asking what factors in response to me saying that there's a lot of factors involved when it comes to being properly prepared for the partner that God has for you. So, for me, there's a few, right? You got communication, you got accountability, you've got submission, you got coming to the table healed, you got hypersexualization, you've also got good stewardship, and you have setting boundaries. So, let's go through each one real quick. So let's start with accountability. Somebody who won't take accountability keeps the relationship in a dangerous place because it continually creates a space that feels unsafe for the other person. Obviously, that's a facet of the being healed part, right? But we'll circle back to that one. If your partner doesn't feel safe, more than likely it's not going to be so safe for you either. It's going to activate a fight or flight response, and if it doesn't get fixed in time, that relationship is headed out the door. And I think accountability rolls nicely into communication. If we're not able to properly communicate in a healthy, healed way to our partner, especially, that other person is not really going to show up feeling validated, especially in times when it's most important, when y'all really need to communicate. Communication is so valuable, especially even more so when it's reciprocal. Being a good communicator is just a life skill, right? It's an amazing tool to have in your toolbox when you're just dealing with society at large. But you can't even put a value on just how important it is with your partner. This is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. This is the person that you confide everything with after God. The person you want to create a legacy with should feel like home. This is the person you can, quote unquote, let your hair down with and really, really talk about anything, right? And even if it doesn't start that way in the beginning, that's where you should be working to. If you need a little bit of time to process, take a little bit of time to process, but then communicate. Don't sit on things, don't let it fester. It just turns to resentment. So if you're not a great communicator right now, it's something to work on. Keep getting better at it. It'll happen. Pray on it, of course. Ask God to increase your gift in that area because we all have unique ways of communicating, and whichever way works best for you, ask God to help you with that, and He will. He wants to give us every desire of our heart, especially when it aligns with His will. So why would He deny you of that? So let's talk hypersexualization. This is so prevalent and running rampant in society and culture. And it feels like it's all fun and games when you feel that temptation and when you're living in your flesh. But let's look at some of the layers that it comes with. Hypersexualization is just one of the arms of deep level perversion. When you see children getting molested and exploited and sold and trafficked, all of this is tied to hypersexualization. It's the exploitation of the flesh. Yes, God gave us these pleasure centers, and stimulating the flesh feels amazing. Nobody's trying to deny that. But the point is, if you don't have boundaries and you don't have discipline enough to be able to control the flesh will control you. It's just that simple. You got to think about it like this. The enemy goes for low-hanging fruit, right? He goes for the things that are easiest. The easiest areas for him to attack is where he's going to show up the most. So we got to learn how to guard our gates. No, it's not easy. The eye gates, the ear gates, these things are highly susceptible to temptation and influence. And we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, right? Just look at some of the things that you're fighting right now. Another part of hypersexualization is that our partners are more than just a piece of flesh that are there to satisfy our needs when we feel like we want something, right? Or we feel like we need something. If you're not factoring in your partner's needs along with your needs, we're in a bad space. Sometimes, yeah, come on, let's go in the room real quick. Oh, come here, let's dip over here real quick, right? Now, we're talking in the context of marriage, right? Nowhere else. But yeah, sometimes, or maybe even oftentimes, depends on your marriage. It might be, come on, let's go over here real quick. Let's do what we do, right? But that's not all the time. That's not realistic. Sometimes your partner just needs you to show up as a vessel of God. Every situation can't be fixed with a good romp, right? That's just not realistic. We got to get out of the flesh so much. Yes, we should be highly attracted to our partners. We got to understand that they're more than just a bag of flesh and know how to be discerning and serve them in the ways that they need to be served, not just with the flesh all the time. This is how we deepen the level of trust and security, reminding them that they are in a safe space as long as they're with you. Why? Because you're operating like a true child of God that really looks like their father. You're showing up in His image and His likeness. So with the mention of boundaries, let's talk about that. Some of us are so infatuated with attention, it becomes an addiction. And this can happen in so many ways, right? It could be at work. It could be at the gym. It could be at your favorite store or restaurant, right? Obviously, it's online. These chemical reactions that we get from the feeling of being appreciated or wanted can be very dangerous. You got to understand that God already chose you. God is the supreme being. If He already chose you, I'm not saying that we shouldn't care about what other people think, but what I am saying is that if it doesn't align with God's will and it's not respectful of your situation, even when you're single, right? But even more so when you have somebody, you can't idolize attention. So if you don't know how to shut down the approaches that are out of alignment with your relationship and the boundaries and the sanctity of that, you're in a bad space. Your partner should never have to deal with the feeling of, are they really mine and all mine? We should show up to our relationship so submitted to God that there's no room for inappropriate advances. Again, that also goes for if you're single. We're talking about preparation. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. How would you feel if your significant other was smiling in somebody's face and kikiing in a way that is clearly inappropriate? We're not saying that you can't laugh and joke with somebody when you're in a relationship. What we're saying is be discerning enough to recognize when that other person wants you in a way that's unhealthy. That's what I'm talking about. It's discernment, it's nuance, right? So we got to pay attention to these things. There's a lot of preparation that goes into being healed and ready for a God-led relationship. Now, let's talk about submission. Submission is an act of both leadership and service. In order to be a great leader, you have to be submitted to a higher power, which is God, the Most High, the Supreme Being, the Creator of all things. Now, in the vein of leadership is also servanthood. Having a heart of service is a special piece of life that allows us to practice humility in a way that serves the world. You want to make the world a better place? Become the type of person that you wish you had in your life. Become that person. Be that person for other people, and God will bless you with those people in your life. That's divine reciprocity. Now, I know submission between men and women is a hot topic, so let's talk about it real quick. Obviously, the most hot button issue is women submitting to men. Now, of course, you have people that are just in a space where they can't fathom that, right? But most women that I know of, that I've come across, of course they want to submit, but to the right man. They don't want to submit to a man that they can't trust. They don't want to submit to a man who's shown them that they're not in a safe space. They want a manly, godly man, period. So bros, if we're not showing up like that, we're not ready for that godly woman that we have in our mind, this ideal dream helpmate. I'm not saying you can't get her. You might get her, but can you keep her? Show up ready. And also, this is the part a lot of men don't want to hear, but you have to be ready to submit to her also, meaning that you need to serve her where she needs to be served. It's not all just you being served because you're the man, you're the king, you're the head of the household. Cool. But guess what? You're not a good man, king, head of the household if you don't know how to serve, bro. You got to be able to serve your lady, right? The same way you want her to serve you. It's reciprocity, bro. It's the only way it's going to work in a healthy place. Come healed. And then to my sisters, don't get me wrong, I'm not a feminist. I'm not a male chauvinist, nor am I a feminist. I'm just about divine justice and proper protocol when it comes to the natural and supernatural hierarchy of life. We all should be playing our parts. This whole I can't stand men or I can't stand women thing, we got to heal from that. Come healed. All right, so next up is being a good steward. First and foremost, we got to be a good steward of our relationship with God. We got to know how to get in the secret place on a regular basis. We got to know how to fast and pray when it's time to go into spiritual warfare. We got to know how to talk to God more than we talk to anybody else, because He's the only one who can do more for us than anybody else. Now, let me be clear. I'm aware that nobody's perfect. When we well steward our relationship with God, it makes it much easier for us to steward everything else well. And I'm not saying that it's the rule that we have to show up to the relationship being great at everything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying let's do as much as we can before we get to the relationship so that we show up in such a great way that it becomes much, much harder to fail in this relationship. So let's learn how to steward our finances well. Let's learn to take care of our temples well, take care of our bodies, take care of our homes, learn how to be professional in our endeavors. It matters. Steward our relationships well, steward our opportunities well. the resources that we have, the gifts that we've been given. There's a lot when it comes to good stewardship. And of course, stewarding the relationship between us and our partners. It comes with all these things that we're talking about. That is good stewardship. And lastly, we have showing up healed. A lot of us have been through some craziness. We all been through it. But the reality is our partners still deserve the healed version of us. Let's show up healed. Let's think about it like this. What better gift could you give to the person that you want to love for the rest of your life than to show up healed? Just like you want them to show up healed. Yes, it happens every day that people show up to the relationship damaged and still going through things. But if both parties are not actively doing the work to submit to God, to follow His will, to understand His word, to really show up like the kingdom and not like the world, a lot of these relationships are not sustainable. There's something special about honoring a kingdom relationship and a kingdom marriage. And when we do the work, God does the rest. So these are the things that I mean when I say that there's a lot of factors involved, right? There's levels to it, 100%. And again, there's more things in this, but I feel like these are just some of the most common things that need to be talked about. So I'm going to wrap it up. Shout out to you, Maria, and God bless y'all. I love y'all. I'll see you on the next one. All right, that's the nugget. Peace.